This video is made for adult collectors because I didn't think in a million years we were gonna get a toy of this. So we've had some really nice Bayverse car modes in the last couple years of, Studio Series. These two being some of my favorites, but I don't think they compare to how clean this thing is. Like, panel lines are pretty accurate other than the seam at the top, and there's no bits hanging off on this one. It's just, oh, it's so nice. We've had some very interesting Transformers toys recently, interesting in a good way, but the concept of this getting a toy was so intriguing to me, and here she is as a McLaren. I'm totally okay with the McLaren MP4-12C because mainly it's my favorite McLaren, but part of me does wish it was a Huayra still, but I mean, we did get that with Stinger, but I'd like a new Stinger, please. But I was not expecting to like this figure this much. I keep messing with it, even though it doesn't articulate as well as most. It's just fun. Like, of all the toys from this wave that I've gotten, she's been the one I've played with the most at my desk. This is Concept KSI Widow from Studio Series, a toy that I thought would never exist. And she's called Widow, not Widowmaker, because Widowmaker is a Blizzard thing for Overwatch. And this was bought at CMD store. Here's the box, not sponsored. I'm gonna start in McLaren mode because the transformation does something super cool that I think looks better going from car to robot. But this car looks so nice. They worked with McLaren to get this car to look perfect, just like they did with Hot Rod and Lamborghini, and it worked. It looks bang on. I love it. The color is like a metallic orange, and it matches that signature McLaren orange you see in real life. The Toronto Auto Show had one of these cars once in that color, so I got to see it ages ago. I love the side vents being painted and the silver on the rear window. The painted rims and brakes is another attention to detail I like, not to mention they are pinned through the back. So you don't see the pins on the front on the rims, which I think they should do that more on Transformers. The front looks great with the lights and the grille, but the badge kind of gets lost in the sea of orange, but I don't know how they would have been able to fix that. And thank God the windows are tinted so that you can't really see the robot inside the car. I don't like when they just do all clear windshields and you can just see everything in there. It's just ugly. It also has a nice hand feel and everything just stays together so solidly and nothing's hanging off. The weapons are also actually stored inside the car. I'll show you when we transform it. It's very clever. I think this is one of the more perfect or close to perfect car modes we've gotten recently, kind of like Crosshairs and Hot Rod. Now let's get into the transformation, because if you've seen the RID-15 Viacon and how amazing that is, you'll love this. Alright, the thing that I like the most about this toy is its transformation, because oh, is it fun, and it's, shared engineering with this. And that's because the guy who designed the engineering for this designed the engineering for this. So, it's not just a sense of shared engineering, it's literally the same designer being like, oh, I can take this aspect that people really liked about this toy and add it to this one. And it's awesome. So to start, it's very easy transformation, which is nice, except for getting this out, and I did just cut my nails, so this is going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. But we're going to want to just get under here and, lift this section up at the front. There's a bit of a gap here so you can actually get in there, but it's a bit tough. I got it. And then you lift the whole thing up. And then you can do this. You can do that, which is very funny. But once you get this roof section all raised, you want to take the side sections here and unpeg the doors from the side of the car, bring them forward like this, and then bring the front of the car entirely down. And that is the chest. It doesn't clip in, it just sits there, but that's the chest. Then you want to take the head on its little stalk here, bring it all the way up and clip it into place. Then we're going to take these shoulders, bring them up just like that, up to the top here. Then we're going to fold the doors down. Now I'm going to remove the guns, which a little bit easier said than done. Actually, I'll just split the legs first. That'll make this a whole lot easier. Split the legs, then we can take the guns out and just get them out of their little cavities. Then you want to take these side sections here, fold them up. They're going to then compress onto the leg. Fold them up, compress them onto the leg. Then we're going to fold out the toes at the front, just like that on both sides. Now we're going to do the cool part. So instead of the car just hanging off her back, which is what I was expecting them to do, you take this, you fold that in, you fold that in, you fold that in, then you fold that up. The entire car just accordions itself into the leg, which is so cool. I love that. And there you have her. And again, it's just like this guy, because very quickly here, you get the arms out, you bring this whole section down, and then you split it, and then fold, 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 then bring the front down. And that's a leg. It's the exact same thing here, just on the other side of the leg. It does negate an ankle tilt because where the hell are you supposed to put it? But it is really cool. Oh, and then the guns can go back into storage underneath her doors if you want to just like not have them on her arm, which is cool, but I like them. No, I like them here. There you go. But yes, Widow, woo, she's fun. That's so fun. And this looks actually pretty good. It gives me like older movie toy vibes, and I'm all for that. I like the sculpted detail with the black, orange, and gray. It could use a bit more paint, but what is here is nice. But I'm not gonna lie, this was not the head I was expecting them to go with. I wasn't a fan of it in the reveal, like the photos and stock images and stuff. It looked okay, but in person, it is a lot nicer with the yellow piercing eyes and the hair that does continue on the back of the neck. I'll show you that later. There's also enough of a gap underneath the shoulder pad so the hair can slip under it when rotating. I think that's clever. The back is super clean. Not all, but there are a lot of female Transformers where the car just kind of goes on the back. But here it's just cool folding doors because the car very cleverly folds into the legs. I kind of want them to do that more. She did have weird knees. They have these little tabs to click them straight because most Transformers now for some reason click their knees straight, but it didn't work. I think they're a tiny too big, so like the knees would look a bit bent. So I just chopped them off and she's standing up straight. They don't do anything in any mode other than to quote unquote clip the legs straight, but they don't work as that, so I just cut them off. I have seen a few people online who got copies that say their hips are loose. My friend's copy had that issue. Mine are fine. I can give it a shake and the hips barely move, if at all, which, you know, it sucks for them that they got loose hips. It is easily fixable, but it still is annoying. But my copy doesn't have that issue. The shoulder bits on mine is where they are a tiny bit loose. Her guns can mount on her arms, and I think that actually looks pretty sick. I like that. Oh, and also I see a lot of people wanting this concept art of her with the tail and all that. Absolutely no idea how they would have fit that into a deluxe budget or a Voyager budget, to be completely honest. They went with this one instead, and honestly, I think that's fine. Articulating her, though, is a little bit So it is a little unfortunate that this thing doesn't articulate as well as like Hot Rod or Crosshairs, or actually Crosshairs is really limited, but Hot Rod, it's fine, the articulation here. That's just not what we're used to today. This is very like the Last Night toy could have had this articulation style thing from 2017. It's understandable why there are the limitations that it has, and I'll get to that, but it is still a little unfortunate that there are some like general things we get nowadays as standard that are missing. So the head can look up that far. It can't really look down because of the braids. You don't get a lot of tilt because of how this ball joint is mounted. There is sculpted hair though on the back of the stock, which is really nice. But you get the head can rotate that far left and that far right, and the hair does go underneath here. However, when you've lifted the head up, it doesn't like work properly when you turn the head left and right because of the hair going underneath these. These shoulders, they can do a full 360, but this stuff does get in the way, but they can go forward that far, back that far. They go in and out. You have bicep rotation, 90-degree bend at the elbow. This bit here, nothing at the wrist. This does not like staying tabbed in. It sits and it's fine, and I can mess with the arm without it like falling all the way down. You saw it fall a little bit there, but it is quite annoying. However, you can use that to your advantage to get the arms to go all the way up like that if you shift it down slightly, or you can get the arms to like cross over the chest a bit more if you bring it down and you're taking a photo from like this angle. So they do have their benefits. The doors, they can go wherever. There is no waist joint, and that's probably because this stock right here, because it folds up and clips into here. Do you see any room for one? Because I don't. So there's no waist because of how that transforms. The hips, they can go forward. They can go, you move the doors out of the way, they can go back that far. You do have in and out that goes about that far and stops. With this, you can move this out of the way. You can get a tiny bit more. You do have a thigh rotation. You have a single jointed knee that bends only about that far, but if you extend this piece out, you can get your full 90-degree bend. So it does have a 90-degree bend at the knee. You do have this little knee pad that moves. It's a little loose on my copy, but you have this knee pad that moves. And then there is no ankle tilt. There is a toe bend, which I did use in a couple poses, but you know, there's no ankle tilt. And that's probably because how do you stick one in here with this engineering? I don't know. And I assume they tried and it didn't work, so we got this. So yeah, it is a little unfortunate. She doesn't have a waist joint. She doesn't have ankle tilts. To be fair, neither did this thing, but this thing doesn't really have an excuse to not have a waist joint. There's so much space in there. The posing's okay. You can still get her to look cool, but at the end of the day, it is just okay, and it's not what we're used to. However, I am totally okay with that because I think the transformation is amazing and so fun to do that I'm fine with it not having those joints, but I know some people are, so it's worth mentioning. Yeah, so I'm not super mad at that lack of articulation. I get why it's like it. I've just been having loads of fun transforming this thing back and forth. It's so enjoyable. I definitely recommend this one if you're a Michael Bay fan or a concept collector, because this thing fits right in and looks really cool standing next to other Studio Series toys. But that's my look at Studio Series KSI Widow or Widowmaker. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.